Then I'll entertain a motion that we would approve the recommendation of an increase of 20% for the named companies.
Now, some say 20% and some say 10%.
Yes, it all depends on the invoice for the total payment. Some of it, I don't have to do it 20% because the 10% would cover the last invoice that we had.
Okay.
Then I will entertain a motion that we would approve the increase as recommended by Vicky.
Second, or so moved.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Juanita Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson?
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner?
Yes. Anything else in this particular area before we move forward? Okay. That takes us to bids, proposals, quotes, and contracts.
Okay, so in this particular area, Vicki has prepared the new contracts approved for 2017. Right now, what I'm doing, I'm in the process of meeting with all of our vendors so that we can go through the contract. So I'm presenting this to you to let you know that between now and the next meeting, I will have recommendations.
Okay.
But here are all the contracts that we presently hold with different people. And so we're doing a review of if it's advantageous for us, if it's beneficial for us to continue with those particular vendors. We are also in the process of bidding out, starting the bidding process to make sure that we're not in non-compliance or, doing anything illegal. So, and then we do have a couple of proposals. We have I don't know if you want me to do this. Well, one proposal is from IUN. We mentioned this probably 4 meetings ago, that IUN wanted to partner with us in putting a pole barn or pole barn.
Pole barn. Well, let's do this. Let's do this. This is for information's sake for the time
Right.
being. And we will be reviewing and voting on these contracts
Next meeting.
at the next meeting. Any other questions or comments on that? Okay.
No,
then-
you're bidding out the concession stand at Marquette,
Yes.
correct?
Right.
That's it.
And that's gonna be in the manager's meeting, so you'll be able to, get more information from that.
Okay.
Okay.
That's it.
All right, then we'll lay this aside just for information for board members. And now we can hear from,
IUN? Okay, so, basically, when they first came they contacted me, they being IUN, and I'm not sure if you all have this. It's actually the second page. And I met with Mr. Jason and Panache?
Jason Bannock.
Bannock, thank you. Close. No, not
Yes,
really.
you are.
But, he was very gracious and informative. And initially, they wanted, well, I'm not gonna say that they wanted all the pole barn for themselves, but we renegotiated so that we can have, equal square footage shared. So we have 2 representatives from IUN that would like to, speak in favor of this. And I asked the board if I would be allowed to allow them to speak.
yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. My name is Andy Kaposius. I'm with Indiana University Northwest. This is Charles Northrup. He's with Indiana University from Bloomington in the real estate division. Now, as you know, the mayor, one of her many initiatives is to partner with individuals, companies, and the like here in this county. And so with that, we're suggesting that we would like to partner with you and in regards to a pole building. We're looking at about 5,000 square feet where we would share that equally. We would front the cost for this initiative, but we would give you the ability to use half of it to store your golf carts and equipment, and we would use the other half to store our equipment as well. Based on the letter that we had sent, we're looking for you folks to go out and put this out to bid. and we will be willing to pay up to $120,000 for the cost of this building. We would pay that entire amount, but we're looking at a 25-year lease on that building, subject, of course, to people that will be different from us, I suspect, to renegotiate that at that point. So we're here to entertain any questions you might have about that property.
Have we selected the build site?
Tentatively.
We are looking at close to the corner of Jefferson and 35th.
Right.
The door that the golf course would use would face the golf course. The door that we would use would face the parking lot and our buildings.
And the reason that particular spot was chosen is we were very conscious of how it would look for the neighbors on the, I don't know the
35th?
directions, so, on
35th
30,
Avenue.
on 35th. So that's why that particular site tentatively was chosen.
So it'd be across the street from, the golf course, I guess what this
Actually,
be?
be the same side of the street.
It's
It would
the same
actually
side
be
of the
on
street?
golf course property.
Right, okay, gotcha.
And so we would, your parking lot would actually gain us access. And then I know when I had the meeting with your building superintendent over there, a number of those golf courts were sitting outside with snow on them.
Gotcha.
So not only would, we be able to increase the life of those golf carts, but obviously give us the ability to store our equipment inside as well.
All right,
Okay.
I'm trying to get a visual of the location, because on the corner of 35th and Jefferson, there's a playground.
Okay, no,
We're not moving
on the
that
other
far
side,
down.
we're not moving that far down.
Okay,
no.
so we're actually talking in the area where we have, there's
A structure
there's
there.
a structure there now.
A brick building, yes.
Okay, all right.
Right, that's where it
I got
is.
Okay.
So are they gonna tear down that building to construct the,
The brick building? No, that would be
No,
that.
it would be in
This would be
addition
aside from that.
okay.
Any questions?
Do we have any, drawings or anything that what we're looking at as far as,
Actually, we
construction?
had talked about this probably 18 months to 24 months ago, and at that point, this building was smaller. So what we're looking at is something that would appease the neighbors, and obviously meet your standards. And so with that in mind, you would have final approval of what the drawing or what the building would actually look like. We just want to be able to maintain our equipment as would
Gotcha.
you.
Love the idea, because I worked for IU 20 years.
Okay.
And I worked in physical facilities, so.
Oh, did you? Okay.
So I'm very familiar with, when we've been trying to make a connection between the city and the university and for quite some time. And I think this is an excellent place to begin that process. So I want to, I will entertain a motion that we would approve the partnership, and that we would begin to move forward. So that would allow, plans to be drawn up, look at the site, and so that we can get the ball rolling.
Sure, that'd be great.
Second, so moved.
Roll call?
Commissioner Juanita Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson?
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Maybe some consideration can be given to that little playground,
Certainly.
maybe, just maybe. And there is another proposal on the table. As you know, the old armory out on Lake Street used to be an incubator, and presently it is occupied by a number of businesses. And what we would like to do is utilize part of the building with the permission of, can I get Mr. Peter to come forward and his wife and Mr. New Orleans? Ken? So, and they presently occupy that building, and what we would like to do, because we have issues with storage, and because we're really serious about our aquatics program, instead of renting that trailer that they do every year for the beach, we would actually have access to that building. And so they have graciously agreed to at least enter into discussions about having access to that particular building, because it's been sort of the envy of the park department for years and years and years.
Right here.
We just want to hear you say yes on record. No, I'm just kidding. No, so basically just a summary of what you do in the building right now, and then how you would want to partner with us.
Let me ask this question. You guys own the building?
No, we don't own it.
Who owns the building?
The city actually have control of the building, but,
You
It's a
maintain
very
the
slippery
building.
slope
Right.
right there.
Okay. But you're responsible for maintaining it, right? You've been given permission to oversee what
Yes.
happens in the building. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Okay.
And what's going on in the building now?
we got automotive training academy, the carpentry, plumbing, and, a list of other things.
Right, and community initiative. And so there's a variety of activities that's taking place in that facility, including, like you mentioned, the ATA Academy, which is body shop training for young adults who may want to come inside and learn that craft. But we also have a dance studio, we also have a music studio, and we also have a photography studio there as well. And these are all teaching mechanisms that are accessible for the community with their particular specific care for the youth. You know, I'm a product of the Gary School System, despite the fact that I've been in New Orleans for the last decade or more behind Hurricane Katrina, and there was a lot that we participated in when I came up in school that may not necessarily exist today. And so that building is being used to supplement, if you will, those activities for the youth and other people that may be involved. And it's a great opportunity for us to partner with the Parks Department because of their broad activities as well. They can use it not just for administration, but also if they need additional space when it comes down to their youth activities or any other kind of activities related to the Parks Department. And of course, we also have the Gary Police Department and its beach patrol that would obtain some space there as well. So it's really kind of a collection of partnerships that's for the greater good of the city.
It really works for us well if in fact our aquatics manager,
Right.
that's the primary.
That's gonna be her office.
Right, equipment storage is something else, particularly as it relates to beach things, is something that we would like, possibly also, but definitely with the beach patrol being there, it's the perfect place for our aquatics program manager to have an office. And so basically what we're asking of you is to allow us to identify that space and then set up the aquatics manager's office in that building.
Right, and
What-
also the beach patrol's office.
And the
as
beach
well.
patrol.
Right. Well, the Beach Patrol's office that's right now segregated for that purpose actually has 6 offices within it. So there's a great deal of space that
Oh,
can
good.
be used.
Right, yes.
And so I don't think that the police department will be using the entire, all the offices. So again, there's a lot of opportunity there for growth and expansion as relates to fulfilling the needs of the Parks Department.
We also want to use it as an opportunity to continue training throughout the year for our aquatics programs,
Okay.
that type of thing.
Great.
Well, I think it's a perfect
So-
match, and if we're on the same page, we'll move forward.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
And the last sort of proposal is the kiting presentation. Remember, we visited this particular water activity, so I would like to bring them forward. You have their packet.
Oh, are you good? I brought it too. You're
Right.
good. It's better to make contact with the audience than fiddle with technology.
Yeah, definitely.
First of all, this is Mike Shramba and I'm Jody. We've been here before and we're here representing Windy City Kite Sports. If anybody saw President Obama kiting yesterday with Richard Branson, you know what it is, so we don't even need the video. And also, thank you to McKenya she's been amazing, pulling this together, working with Marianne. So what we've done is that, and Michael sort of go into the whole kiting thing, but what we want to do is to coin a lovely phrase. Hello. To coin a lovely phrase, partner with partner with the Gary Park District and bring kiting, which is one of the swiftest growing sports in the world, to Gary on a more embraced basis, because there's already kiters there now. And we've been talking with the Park District about, and I'll go in the order that you have it so that you can, kiting is everywhere. It's already in Gary, it's already all over the Great Lakes, and we'd love to utilize kiting as an opportunity to not only enrich the youth, enrich the beaches themselves, but to bring business to all of the businesses surrounding the beach, because kiters bring a lot of business and they bring color. So what we've been talking about with the Park District is basically a few things. Number one, on the more mundane side, is having off-season access so that kiters can kite, and they're working internally with McKenya and Tiffany and everyone within the Park District to make sure that it's effective and efficient and works for you guys and isn't inconvenient. Also, we want to engage in some really great initiatives for the youth. And Mary Ann, who's the aquatics director, had some brilliant ideas about doing that. She's really on the ball. She wants to do maybe a couple of water sports expos where you get people from all different water sports, us, Mike representing kiteboarding, and maybe some people representing SU Ping, and they all come down and we bring the youth from Gary, and they get to experience all these different sports and get a taste of them and sort of get excited about the possibilities. And we would, of course, participate in that. And then we also talked about doing a special kiting orientation for the Park District staff, for all the guys on the ATVs who are regulating the beaches, so that they understand the lingo and they can sort of enforce safety, and they know what kiters do and don't do, because safety is so important, and Michael talked to you about that. And also, if anybody is interested in kiteboarding in the Park District, we'll give them a little bit of an exciting taste of that. So working with the Park District. And also, maybe a specific event for the youth, and then also Windy City teaching at the beach. And then Mike is going to talk to you a little bit about kiting itself and safety and how we'd work with the Gary Park District. And in effect, I can say this about him, but he won't say it about himself. He's sort of the ambassador of kiting for the Quad State area, Michigan, Indiana, Illinois, and Wisconsin. And so he's the ambassador, so he very much wants to be sort of a liaison between the Gary Park District and all the folks here and the kiting community. And his primary concern is safety and making it enjoyable and accessible to all. And me as a marketing person, I want Gary businesses to thrive from what the kiting community can bring. So you're up, he's the kiter, I'm just the marketing person, but I'm very entertaining, and it's his turn.
So I'm not only a certified rider, but I'm also a certified ICAO instructor, which is an international organization that teaches instructors how to teach safely. I'm also, a proponent of respecting our beaches and so forth. So, periodically I'll organize beach cleanups and so forth with kiters, and just sort of helps us, get in touch with our beaches and keep that respect. And as Jody mentioned, sometimes it's necessary to have a liaison between, the Park District or whoever's running the beaches that we're kiting at and the kiters themselves, just to kind of make sure that I'm keeping my boys and girls in line, and that we are respecting the beaches and the other beachgoers. So what I can do, originally we came here a few months ago asking that, in the off season when we're primarily kiting, that we can get the gates to the parking lot opened and close them behind us. But there's more going on than that. We see kiting growing. Obama's doing it now, and if Obama can do it, I can teach any one of you to kite. So what we'd like to do is, what I'd like to propose is that we partner and that, you know, I bring education to the beaches, to the people who are interested in kiting, make sure that they can get into it safely. Because there's a sort of a misnomer, we make it look real easy, but it's a dangerous sport unless you know what to do. So I have a company. I mean, I do it all. We provide the gear. We make sure that we get people into to the appropriate gear. We make sure that they're safe out on the lake. I mean, the water is cold, and if somebody's stuck out there for an hour or so, it's dangerous if they're not geared up properly. So we educate in that matter, and then we teach etiquette on the beach. Winding up our lines and so forth, staying away from other beachgoers, not flying over the beachgoers, because it can happen in a blink of an eye that something goes wrong. So, you know, kiteboarding is sort of a free sport. It's not regulated, and we'd like to keep it that way. However, we need some sort of
Boundaries of etiquette.
boundaries of etiquette. That's right. And
And we will partner with you guys to achieve those.
So I want to thank you for this presentation, and I think one of the things that I would like the commissioners to, for all of us to wrap our heads around, and I'm going to make recommendations about this, is how do we come up with a workable policy / procedure that makes sense and doesn't put the city at risk in terms of litigation, and having this particular exciting sport and potential for us to do more for the community off season. So it's always been sort of problematic having anything on the beach off season, but I'm willing to delve a little bit more into this issue because I see more growth coming out of it in terms of revenue for our aquatics program and that type of thing. So I wanted them to make this presentation to sort of give you all context for when I do make a recommendation, which will be at the next meeting on how we can possibly move forward, you know, in terms of, you know, if it actually can work.
McKenny, I want to jump in with something too. One of the things we did mention is that you talked about liability. There are a lot of kiters out there who think that because they kite beautifully on the water, they can teach. And that's where liability becomes an issue. So part of what Windy City and what Mike will do with the Park District, because bear in mind, we also want to move here and live here. So our commitment to the area is way deeper and way more inspired than just a business commitment. And part of the issue with liability is that you want anyone who's teaching any water sport on these beaches to be certified by whatever entity certifies that sport. For kiteboarding, it's IKO or PASA. And you want them to have insurance, to have really good liability insurance, because then the park is indemnified. But you want them to be insured, and that's really important. So part of what Mike can do is work with you guys on understanding, you know, the insurance and certifications, because our whole goal is that because you have been so gracious and welcoming this, we really want it to be safe. And once those boundaries of etiquette and safety are in place, then everybody knows what everybody else is doing, and the ATV guys are comfortable and hip to what's going on. He's just adorable, what a great sport. So that's kind of what we want to do.
Since we're not voting on this, because it's just a presentation, and I think that generally, the board, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, has some level of interest, but before we would be able to move forward at all, the recommendation that comes from you has to have these questions answered.
Right.
And they are safety guidelines, the permitting, the insurance, the certification, fees, if there's any, how the park department, there's revenue generated, the hours, the rules. So, you know, when a recommendation is made, it's gotta be completed. We're gonna move on. So is it?
The only thing I want to add to that is if you could give us a little history on past experience and past success.
Okay. Of comparative communities.
Oh, no, with
Oh, no, with them, okay, all right. All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sure,
Thank you.
very much.
So now, we have, a proposal for Adopt a Park, and that will be the ending of our proposals, and then we'll go straight through, reports, and that's pretty much it.
What we're working with is adopting Packard Park, that's in Terrytown. It's 23rd and Wilson Street. And my name is Gerald Ivy, I'm sorry. And this is my sister. Patrick.
Okay.
That's my sister.
Aquanet.
Patrick Park.
And we both grew up in Terrytown.
Yeah, we both grew up in Terrytown. But our goal is this, is to go in there and actually just use that park as a community center. We need access to the pavilion, and she's gonna talk about them services. And what we're gonna do actually is take care of the park. We start there, that's our base camp, to go in and really just take over. We're working on the new side of Terrytown. First, that'll be from 21st Street all the way up. Actually, we'll hit Oak Knoll also. So we're going from 21st to 25th Avenue, from Wilcombe Street to Clark Road, just that square footage at this time. It'll give us time to actually learn how to work with the community before we cross over to the old side of Terrytown. That'd be 21st, I believe 19th or
That's
15th
19th.
Avenue. So what we do, we go in there and work in that area. What we do, we bring a service to that area. We're trying to actually deal with a lot of fear that's in the area. First of all, we're going to use the youth, teach them how to use equipment, because we're going to cut the grass. We're going to work on, like last year, we provided paint to paint the basketball court for the back to school basketball games they have every year in that area. So we have people in that community that we know already, and they already function in that area. So what we do, we bring our services and our people that's going to be year round to assist the community in doing what they're already doing. But also what we're doing is establishing different breaches that have occurred between the elderly and the young in that area. So what we're doing is teaching the youth how to use ground maintenance equipment, cutting grass. And what we do is we contact every elderly person in that area, and we get them to cut their grass for free. So what we do, we teach the children, the youth, teenage-wise, make sure to really start reinvesting, but making that link back from the elderly to the youth in that area, you know. But we have a lot of programs we're gonna put in place. I'm gonna let her talk.
I'll talk a little. I'm Aquanet. I am a social worker by trade. I worked in Gary Schools for 12 years. Currently own my own company providing therapy, so I'm a licensed social worker. And some of the things, it's always been our dream to give back to our community. We both were, started at Locke School, kindergarten, Towson, Westside. And so we always wanted to come back to Terrytown and build up and teach the individuals and educate them to reinvest back into the community. And what a better place but the park, because that's where a lot of the community unites. One of the things that we wanted to do is, I know from experience that children and families do well when their basic needs are met. I would like to assist families with linking them to the services. I'm very aware of how to provide the case management pieces as well, linking them to the pantries, to employment services. I wrote it down. I wear glasses. This is bad.
And we do have the application. I just wanted them to come because I was just really impressed with what they are able to offer, and the fact that they have history with us. Like, this is not something that this is not just like a pie in the sky type of thing. This is established, giving back to the community. And so my recommendation, we do have to work on this. So my recommendation is that they would be able to adopt that particular pavilion and park area and become an official partner with our department.
I just had one question. Have we given them the guidelines on the protocol?
Yes.
So that
They
they'll
have
know
everything.
exactly what it entails in adopting the park?
Yes, they've signed an agreement. We have talked with them thoroughly about it. And yes, they know the do's, the don'ts, and all of that.
A lot of great ideas. I love what you guys did with the basketball court. last year, I was like, yeah, because you can see it from Whitcomb Street. I mean, you know, with the bright blue and that was done really well. But my question though is specifically as it relates to Patrick Park, the painting of the basketball court was absolutely how I envision adopting a park. All right, so as we move forward, kind of specifically, what is it that you're looking to do with the park?
Okay, I'm gonna ask you one. This operation is called RECON. So I'm ex-military, so I use military terms. But it's RECON, it's restoring environmental conditions of your neighborhood. And the way we do that is by changing the way people envision and think about the surrounding areas. So first of all, we have to change the way people think and feel about their area. So that's why the programs come in and the team go in. We call it mentoring. So you got guys on the ground that's working with the people to teach them to care about the environment. Because whatever you do in that park, whatever you do in any area, if the people don't care about it, it's going to get destroyed again. So our goal is to go in and change the way people think about the environment.
Okay, so
And so when,
Through the actual upkeep and maintenance.
right, and we have them
Right.
hands-on,
That's what
they're
you're-
working
that's
with
what you're
them.
asking.
right, so
Right.
your goal in adopting a park is to connect the community to the park.
To the environment.
And saying this is your park,
Yes,
or a better way is this is our park.
absolutely.
And create an atmosphere and an attitude that the community begins to join in and help maintain it, help keep it clean, so on and so forth.
And it's something the whole community can come to. It's not
And participate.
my house or your house, but this is our thing.
Okay, thank you. Then I will entertain a motion that we would approve the request for the adoption of Patrick Park.
So moved.
Roll call?
Commissioner Juanita Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Renee Patterson?
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations. And like I said, all the contracts will be moved to the second meeting, so I have an opportunity to go through.
Do we have a liaison for people who adopt the park to get, help assist them with, say, setting up websites or just, how they have that in Miller next door or they have the different extensions so that you can.
Well, I mean, Will Green works with our partners, like.
Okay,
with the
he
Dr.
works with them,
Right.
okay, that's good.
So now, we're gonna have, reports from Tiffany and Officer Lilly. I'm sorry, before that, I need to let you know that we did receive notice from Ms. Carmella that she no longer wants to participate, so we're gonna bid that particular concession.
Good morning, board.
Good morning.
Good morning, constituents. So my report this week for Marquette, we have no concerns right now at this time, yay. So nothing major, everything is running smoothly. Action items, we have begun the process to implement new payment procedures for Marquette in terms of rental and catering payments. It is our goal to have everything solidified by March 1st, 2017 for board approval at our first board meeting. We discussed this on Monday at our executive meeting a little bit more, and so we will be able to present a solid plan on March 1st and be able to have your full vote on that. It'll just help, things smoother at Marquette. The grounds have been marked and prepped for our new no parking on the grass signage, as well as the placement for the ticket booth that is going to go in the parking lot at the concession stand. As soon as we get the ground thaws a little bit more, with the assistance of Will Green and his crew, they'll be able to go out and put the signs in, as well as the ticket booth. And as you know, the pricing for the parking has already been approved, and that all will go into effect at that time as well. We had Gleam come out, to give us a quote on the 2 light posts. If you remember last summer, we had 2 light posts, hit right by Father Marquette statue. Both of them were hit and runs, and they came out and gave us a quote to fix them. We do have the 2 extra poles at Lake Street. The holdup right now is the globes throughout the park were custom made. So they were fabricated, from a company, I'm not sure where, but we cannot find a match. So what we're trying to do is find something that's similar and close in, matching of that. I'm sorry.
No, speak to us.
Okay, in matching the globe so that we can get those poles back up for the lighting, because it does get really dark around that curve as you go around Marquette Park. Also, you know about the infamous blinking light at the concession stand. Ms. Patterson, I'm sure everyone has told you about the light and complained to you. So we will have that fixed. They gave us a quote for that. And then all of the lights in the shelters are out, so they're gonna repair all the lights, put brand new lighting in there. So when the summer hits, we'll have all of the shelters lit up, all of the lights on the boardwalk by the concession lit up, as well as our poles back in the ground. So we'll have full lighting at Marquette Park and around the Marquette Park Beach area. We are awaiting a few more quotes, as our superintendent spoke about. It'll be presented either at the next board meeting or at our first March meeting for the fire and alarm monitoring, as well as our security contract. We'll also have our contracts for all of our buoys, our lawn care, our flower pots, and all of that. We'll have it prepared early enough. And I was hoping Commissioner Williams would be here, because I know he was on us last year to get it done early, and I am getting it done early, to make sure that you guys have more than enough time to review it, more than enough time to make sure we're getting our best price, getting the best bang for our buck. So we will have that at the next board meeting, or as Superintendent said, by the first meeting in March, for you guys to review and to make a recommendation for who we should go with. In your board package, you should have the request for a proposal for the Marquette Park concession stand that we would like to immediately send out into the papers for the bid of the concession stand. We have already begun to receive a substantial amount of interest in the concession stand. We would like to also receive the board's input with regards to the park's expectations of the space in terms of usage, marketing efforts, menu selection, etc. As you know, we just want to make sure we're getting full usage of the space, that the beach goers can look forward to going to the beach and actually walking up to a window and getting a cold drink or a good hot dog or a ice cream, as my son would like to say. He just wants some good ice cream. And so we are requesting some information and some input from you guys on how you would like to see those expectations. We will be presenting them to all interested people, all interested offers, I should say, at the pre-proposal conference on Friday, February 17th, 2017 at 10 a.m. at Marquette Park Pavilion. Packets will be available to be picked up from 839 South Broadway, Suite 202 from Miss Vicki Ward. So once we have your approval, they'll be able to pick up the proposal packets. It'll also go in the paper, and then we will meet with those prospective people that are looking for the concession on Friday, February 17th at 10 a.m.
Thank you. Any questions from board members?
I just had one comment for you, Tiffany.
Yes.
Good job, though, by the way. You didn't mention the biking lanes painted. They do need to be painted.
Yes.
So I was hoping that that would be included in your preparation for the upcoming season as well.
So that request has gone out, and I have in turn turned it over to our superintendent. She is in talk with the traffic and
I did get a commitment when we were experiencing that sort of heat wave before the hawk came, and they were ready to paint, but then it snowed, and so we do have a commitment that will be done. So that's part of it. And when we get the signs down and that type of thing, that's part of what we're going to do.
Right.
Thank you.
Anything else from board members? Thank
I
you.
just want to mention one last thing. I do want to challenge the board to come out. The park has committed to 2 fun runs this year, May and
Thank you.
October. Okay, so I'm gonna see you. That concludes.
Thank you.
All right,
So-
Officer Little.
Good morning, board.
Good
and
morning.
all of you all. I am Officer Simon Lilly with the Gary Police Department. And with the vision that the city has had, with superintendent coming in, she has severely, completely amplified that vision. And of course, with the expansion of recreation programs, the utilization of more pools and more pavilions and parks calls for a concern for more security. So I have been assigned the task of amplifying my services further than Marquette Park and providing services for security services for all the parks in the city of Gary and also the Hudson Campbell. So in your package, you should have a brief description of the services that we're going to be providing in conjunction with the police department in reference to what we will be doing. Our basic functions will be to enforce laws, parks ordinances, city ordinances, and state laws. So with the programs that have been amplified, like Adopt in the Park, and for instance, when you have the big, huge West Side thing at Brunswick, where you really never had security, I'll be responsible for, getting security set up and things and stuff like that, and also doing inspections on each park pavilions and pools so we can better serve the community. That way they're coming in and they're feeling safe as it relates to using our parks.
Okay, got a couple of questions here in your security checks. There are a number of things that you have found and highlighted. For example, the Lake Street Beach concession was breached.
Yes.
And has that been boarded?
Yes, that has been boarded. That was, I think Will Green took care of that a couple of days afterwards. So that was boarded, and also the ticket booth in the middle of Marquette Park was also boarded.
Okay. On the keys, did we find out who had possession of them before they were lost?
Which keys are we? Are we talking about the parks keys?
Yes.
Okay. They were found in the parking lot. Luckily, I was the one that during my checks was able to gain, and I turned them over to the superintendent, and she found the person who they belong to. I just did my job as security.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Third item on the garage doors that needs to be fixed on the beach garages where the ATVs or the beach patrol, these are overhead doors.
Right, correct. They're overhead doors, and they're very, very old and outdated. And that's why we were attempting to acquire space with the building straight across for office space, because when they did end up breaching that building, they took a lot of items like helmets. We stored our bike patrol bikes there. They took tires and things like that. So we're in the works of getting specs for either new garage doors or actually fixing the current garage doors. We fix those doors every year, and somehow just the wear and tear on it just happens. So everything needs to be replaced as it relates to the actual garage doors.
Okay, let me ask this question. The armory where we're moving aquatics and where your office is going to be is a much more secure place. That's correct.
Well, yes, it's much more secure for office space and meeting space and immediate equipment and keys and stuff like that. The good thing was that whoever broke in wasn't smart enough or good enough in knowing what we actually had in there. So with the acquiring of that, we can also use that for some equipment as well.
Okay.
Yes.
Is this our stuff, this garage?
Yes.
Okay, so can we get, move immediately to get a couple of bids on the place of the garage door?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, and that's what we do. Thank you, I really appreciate, what you do. And I just wanted you to know.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
So, at this time, my report is very simple. The amended budget was passed unanimously, so I want to thank, this body for taking the time to make sure we are being fiscal stewards, to make sure that we are doing all that we can to, give the citizens of Gary, clean, good parks. One of the things we are, we're comprehensively looking at all the parks, so we're doing things from square one. So we're getting signage and, you know, just those types of things. I did want to give you an update on Reed Park. Mr. Anthony Disco is here for he's the contractor. So we're moving into phase 2 and 3 simultaneously. That park will be done by
May 22nd.
May 16th.
May 16th.
So,
Well, my part of it's gonna be done way before that. That's the target date, but,
no, that is the hard
Yeah, wait a minute, let's do this, 'cause, we had this big wonderful groundbreaking, and then I saw some people with some shovels, and I saw a bulldozer, and then I saw a little building, I'm still not sure how that functions, and then nothing, right? And for months, there have been nothing. And so what I'm expecting is whatever date, and both you and my superintendent need to hit me, whatever date you declare that, and I don't wanna hear that your portion will be finished. I wanna know that Reed Park is going to be completely finished and completely functional on a date before Memorial Day.
correct.
That we can count on. All right, go right ahead, Tim.
Yes,
we need to hear you say that.
Yeah, you need to be over here.
It will be completed before May 16th.
Okay.
All right.
It will be completed before May 16th.
And functional and ready for kids to play.
Well,
It is going to be functional and ready for kids to play with the outside environmental classroom, with the renovation of the pavilion and the bathhouse. And Reed is on the pool roster, like it's part of the pool plan.
Okay.
So, yeah.
phase 1, phase 2, phase 3.
Okay. And when will we be able, we wanna like,
We're going to provide you a timeline because
Okay.
Mr. Anthony Disco is going to provide me a timeline for everything that's going to happen from now until then. What we need to do now is he's in the process of submitting the specs so that we can go ahead and present it in front of you so you can approve it so we can move forward.
okay. And we'll require a walkthrough
Yes.
with a check off by board members to say, so we'll tell you when you're done. All right.
Okay. No problem.
We believe in you, Disco.
Yes, yes. At least at this time we do.
Pressure.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, that's just in the packet. Everything else is in your packet. The revenue of all pavilions outside of Marquette, $922.50 for Tolliston, Howe, Borman, and Glen Ryan. But we anticipate an increase. Did also want to let you know that all of the pavilions will be stripped and waxed by March 1st. We're really excited about that. So far, Brunswick has been stripped, and the gym as well, Ambridge Man, and Pittman Square, and Glen Ryan. So the roving maintenance teams, they're working not overtime, just figuratively, overtime and getting this goal of our cleanliness standard raised. Last but not least,
Let me speak to that before we leave that. There was a family who rented Tolliston Park Pavilion for a repass. And family members, because they know me, came back to me after the event with just rave reviews about the pavilion in Tolleson. It was clean. The maintenance person who showed up was friendly and helpful, and then that all the way around, it was just a really positive experience. So I want to say that when Mr. Green was here, because I will beat up on him if I'm not satisfied. But in this particular case, the word that got back to me was just that was a really, really great experience for that family in a difficult time. So yeah, good job.
I'm glad. So I have a good team, and I want to publicly thank the Parks team for all of what they have been doing and investing, because I have been pushing, and so it's just a great place to be back home and able to be part of something that is positive and moving forward. So before the naysayers get up and speak, I want to make sure that you see the February programming calendar.
Yes.
So again, we have some additions, and we have all abilities notation. So if the pavilion is handicap accessible, and we got this from our strategic planning, our master planning. Because some of the people were saying, well, we don't know if we can actually access the building and that type of thing. So we also put the address of the pavilion on it as well. Then at the very end, you'll see that we are functioning with Arts in the Park. And so actually today they are doing the illustrations project. And so we have a visual artist in Yolanda Harrington, and she goes from different pavilions engaging the community in arts, because arts is for all. So that concludes my particular report, and I also want to say that our budget was passed unanimously. I think I said it 3 times, but
Yes. Congratulations.
thank you. So
That, thank you. That takes us to our legal report, and Attorney Collins will not continue as our board attorney. And so I need to entertain a motion that pursuant to the rules of his contract with a 30-day notice, that his contract with us be terminated. Is there a motion? There a second?
I'll second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Juanita Jackson. Yes. Commissioner Renee Patterson.
Yes.
President Dwight Gardner.
Yes. That takes us to public comment. We have Gerald Ivy, Jason Reeves, Jim Nowacki, Mike, my really last name?
Strimbo.
Okay, and Jody Blanco.
Yeah, good morning, board members of Gary Park Department. My name is Jason Reed, and I do some writing in terms of the Hearn Foundation, which is an endowment of business and engineering solutions. And I want to outline a concern that surrounds the Little Calumet River, as well as Gleason Park, not too far from IU, Indiana University, and I recognize that there's a lot of there's a numerous amount of parks throughout the city of Gary, and I just wanted to outline that I have a concern that there might be a need for a conservancy district to be established in the city of Gary. Now, what this will do is help the Little Calumet River be controlled, have better flood control, and maybe some future beautification. One one factual reason that I attended this meeting, and I thought about it before, is that you also have a Gary Park Pavilion, Gleason North. It seems to be a park pavilion, and that seems to be part of the Gary Park Department. So I would hope you'd be mindful that in the future, there's a number of things. I mean, even as someone was speaking about Patches Park, I cut the grass one time myself, you know, and we always have to kind of recognize the concerns that go on the park, go along with the Gary Park system. Even upgrading swimming pools. It's vital to have decent recreation, and as I do studies in terms of treated water, wastewater, and stormwater, the Low Calumet River has become an intense study, along with certain things that exist within the Gary Park Department. So next time I attend a meeting, I'm also will try to put something in writing, and I appreciate you listening.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Nowacki.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
My name's Jim Nowacki. I live in the 2nd District, and I'm something of a naysayer around the city, and quite proud that that many of the things that I complain about continuously are oftentimes addressed in good time. Now, I think I've been attending meetings longer than anybody serving on this board or on the staff, and have always participated in these meetings, emphasizing basic services in our parks. I'm very glad to see some of the privatizing going on in the off-season period at Lake Street, seeing some Adopt a Park over at Pasher, seeing the work getting lighting installed over at Marquette Park, and Marquette Park being treated kind of specially, and I'm putting that in quotations. But I was shocked yesterday when I attended the city council meeting and I heard our superintendent saying that the board has plans to close 20 parks in the city. Now, I'd heard nothing about it in all the meetings that I've attended. I make most of them.
Mr. Nowacki.
But to hear that, can I finish? Is my time over?
This is a misrepresentation of what was said yesterday.
No.
She did not say that.
Yes.
Okay, and you have to, in fact, you know, what she talked about was a city that's less than half its
Right.
size. And
I was actually going to make a point.
Okay,
Towards,
all right, go ahead.
I mean, we could both discuss that, but and maybe after the meeting. But the point I'm making is this, and relating to my comments at the beginning.
Okay.
I complain about basic services in our parks.
Okay.
And that means cutting the grass, keeping the trees in trim, picking up litter, etc. And we find that that has been neglected for a long, long time, I would say decades. We even had a policy, and I think many of you are familiar with it. We had a policy of organized neglect of our parks. So in other words, some parks were going to be treated very nicely, some parks were going to be treated like red-haired stepchildren, and some were simply going to be ignored. And then we come back with a plan saying, we have several parks that are unused, and we're going to leave those parks just to go back to nature. And I'm saying, the reason they're not used is because the grass is this tall. Nobody cleans up the stuff that's been dumped on it. Nobody even drives out even to look at the park. And then you wonder why the park is neglected, and we hope to find people who are just going to volunteer to do the work. And I'm saying the citizens of Gary pay over $1 million in taxes to fund the park department. Now I know many of us think it's for windsurfers and for IUN to put up someplace and put up their pole barn, but that's really not. The reason that $1 million is budgeted is so that basic needs can be met in our park. And they're not all profit centers. And they're not intended to be profit centers. So when we shake down children in our pool for $1, or when we, or otherwise neglect parks that aren't profit centers.
Thank you.
But we have to make sure that we don't close those parks, because citizens are entitled. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from board members? I want to thank our superintendent for the work that we have done and the work she continues to do. I'm excited about the joint project between Geary Park Board and Indiana University in building a new storage facility for equipment. It has been and it continues to be our goal to provide usable, friendly parks for every community in our city. And we are continuing to do that, and I'm excited about it. And so, again, I look forward to, I'm glad about where we are, and I'm really excited about where we're going. And with that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Is there a second? Meeting adjourned.